I never thought I'd be the kind of man to be blindsided. People say that if your marriage is crumbling, you should see the cracks well before it collapses. They talk about gut feelings, red flags, that nagging voice in the back of your mind. But I had none of that. Or maybe I did. Maybe I was just too damn trusting. My wife Emily and I had been together for over 15 years. We met in college, young and stupid, falling for each other in the way only young and stupid people can. She was my first real love, the woman who gave me my daughter, Lily. Lily was our world. She was 13 now at that age where she swung between childhood and something sharper, something more observant. Maybe she had seen what I hadn't. Maybe she had always known. But I had been blind. Work had been keeping me busy, long hours, travel, late nights. I had just returned from a mandatory team-building trip, exhausted but eager to be home. The flight had been delayed, and I hadn't told Emily the exact time I'd be back. I wanted to surprise her. Turns out she had a surprise for me instead. I walked into the house, the familiar scent of lavender and something faintly floral lingering in the air. Everything looked the same, too much the same. Like a set, carefully arranged, the kind of stillness that doesn't belong in a living, breathing home. And then I saw it, my wedding ring, sitting there on the kitchen table. I stared at it for a long moment, my mind not fully processing. My fingers instinctively went to my left hand, but of course it was bare. I hadn't worn my ring in months, because I had left it behind, because I had already moved on. A quiet creak of the stairs made me turn, and there she was, Lily, standing on the steps in her pajamas, clutching a letter in her hands. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her lips pressed together like she was trying not to cry. "Daddy," her voice wavered. I tried to cover for you, but he knew everything." My stomach twisted. "Who?" Her hands trembled as she extended the letter toward me. "Mom's boyfriend, or I don't know what to call him anymore. He fooled us. He's been living with someone else for months. And now he's just gone, vanished, blocked me. I don't understand." I took the letter, my pulse hammering as I unfolded it. Inside were photos of Emily, my wife, wrapped around her boss. Photos of her with colleagues, her body tangled with theirs in ways that left no doubt, intimate, raw, damning. And beneath them, divorce papers, an eviction notice. I felt nothing, not rage, not sadness, just a cold, quiet understanding. Because I had already played my part in this game, and Emily never saw it coming. 15 years. That's how long I had spent building a life with Emily. 15 years of sacrifice, of love, of trust, of blind fucking loyalty. I met her in college, one of those fairy tale beginnings people write about in books. I was the quiet, ambitious type, the guy with a plan, the one who didn't party much because he was too busy chasing something bigger. She was the opposite. Emily was wildfire, reckless, beautiful, alive in ways that made me feel like I was missing something. I should have known better. She was the kind of woman who could charm a room without trying, who made you feel like you were the only person in the world when she looked at you, and I fell for it, hard. We got married young, right after graduation. I was already setting up my career in finance, working my AA, off to make sure we had stability, a future. She said she wanted the same, a family, a home, a life together. Lily came a few years later, my daughter, my little girl, the best thing that ever happened to me. Emily changed after that, not all at once, not in obvious ways, but piece by piece. She started resenting the routine, the way life settled into responsibilities. She wanted more excitement, more attention. I figured it was a phase. I was a fucking idiot. Back to now. The weight of the letter in my hands was nothing compared to the weight in my chest. Lily was still standing on the stairs, staring at me like she was afraid I'd explode. I wouldn't, not yet. "Where's your mother?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. She swallowed. "She left. After he vanished. She was crying. I think she was scared." Scared. I almost laughed. Emily, my cheating, lying wife. was scared because her side piece played her the same way she played me. The irony would have been fucking hilarious if it wasn't my life being ripped apart. I glanced back down at the table, the ring, the photos, the divorce papers, the eviction notice. Did she say where she was going? Lily shook her head. No. Then hesitantly, Dad, what's happening? I exhaled slowly, forcing the chaos inside me into something controlled. Lily didn't deserve to be in the middle of this. She deserved honesty, but not the raw, ugly truth. Not yet. I don't know, sweetheart. It wasn't a lie. Her lip trembled. Are we going to be okay? I looked at her, really looked at her, my daughter, my blood, the only person in this house who had never betrayed me. Yes. And that wasn't a lie either, because I would make damn sure of it. Hours passed. I didn't sleep. I barely moved. I sat in the kitchen, the pile of evidence in front of me, my mind unraveling the last 15 years like a crime scene. Emily had played me for a fool, and the worst part? This wasn't even the first time. I didn't want to believe it at first, but the signs had always been there. Late nights at work, a sudden interest in looking younger, dressing sexier, the way her phone never left her hand, always face down on the table, the excuses, the distance, and me. I had been the perfect husband, the provider, the one who sacrificed. When Emily wanted to quit her job and find herself, I worked harder. When she wanted vacations, I paid for them. When she got bored, I made excuses for her. And what did I get in return? A house that wasn't mine anymore. A marriage that had been dead long before I ever saw the body. A wife who didn't just betray me, she humiliated me. With her boss, with multiple men. And now she was running. She thought she could escape the consequences. She thought wrong. The next day I got a call. Unknown number. I picked up. Silence, and then a breath. A voice I hadn't heard in years. You should have left her first, brother. My blood ran cold, because the man on the other end of the line. He wasn't calling to comfort me. He was calling to collect a debt. Emily never saw herself as the villain. If you asked her why she did it, she'd have 100 justifications lined up, rehearsed and polished like a fussing sales pitch. I was too distant. I worked too much. I wasn't exciting anymore. She was lonely. She needed to feel wanted. Bullhey. The truth? Emily didn't want love. She wanted a fantasy. She wanted to be the center of attention, the irresistible prize, the woman every man wanted and no man could hold. She told herself she deserved more and more and more. She never stopped to think about what that would cost, but now she was about to find out. I gripped the phone, my fingers turning white. You should have left her first, brother. That voice. It clawed its way through my past, dragging me back to a part of my life I had buried. Derek, not my real brother. But blood didn't mean much in the world we came from. We weren't born into the same family. We survived the same war. Back then, Derek and I weren't clean. We weren't good men. We were debt collectors, enforcers, problem solvers for people who didn't ask twice. I got out, built a real life, a real family. But Derek, he never stopped playing the game, and now he was calling me. I don't have time for this, I said coldly. A low chuckle. Yeah, you do. A pause. You know, I always liked your wife. I clenched my jaw. Don't. Not like that, he continued lazily. I mean, I liked watching her. Always thought she was too good at playing innocent, too smart for her own good. My heart pounded. What do you want? She owes money. I went still. What? Derek sighed. See, Emily's little affair, not just an affair, more like a business venture. I gripped the edge of the table. Explain. She didn't just fuck her boss. She helped him move money, a lot of money. And when things got messy, she did what she always does. She ran. My blood turned to ice. How much? 300 grand. I closed my eyes. Emily hadn't just cheated on me. She had stolen, and now someone wanted their cut. Emily thought she was playing me, but she had no idea who was really playing her. She must have thought she was so clever, sneaking around, spending late nights in her boss's office, whispering promises to him between sheets that weren't ours. But what she never understood was that men like him, they didn't love women like her. They used them, and when they were done, they left them to burn. Emily had helped launder money for him, thinking she was securing her future. Maybe she thought he'd leave his wife for her. Maybe she thought she'd get a fat payout and walk away clean. But something had gone wrong, because now her boss was gone, and the men he owed weren't looking for him anymore. They were looking for her. Nuclear revenge? Number that was too small. I didn't just want Emily to suffer. I wanted her to understand deep in her bones that this was all her fault, that everything she thought she had built was already ashes. So I made a call, to a man who didn't forgive debts, to a man who didn't ask for permission. I gave him a name, a location, and one simple instruction. Make her feel everything. And then I waited. Because Emily didn't just destroy my life, she destroyed herself. And now she was going to learn exactly what that meant. Emily always thought she was the smartest person in the room. She knew how to play people, how to twist the truth just enough to keep herself safe. When she lied, she did it with conviction. When she cheated, she convinced herself it wasn't her fault. When she stole, she told herself she deserved it. But this time there was no way out. Because the kind of men she crossed didn't care about her excuses. They didn't care that she was scared. They didn't care that she was a mother. All they cared about was the money, and she no longer had it. 3 days after I made the call, Emily reappeared. I was still in the house. Technically, I had 30 days to leave before the eviction notice kicked in. The sun was setting when I heard the tires crunch on the gravel driveway. I opened the door before she could knock, and there she was. For the first time in years, Emily looked truly terrified. Her usually flawless makeup was smudged, her hair was a mess, and her hands were shaking. She tried to speak, but I held up a hand. "Don't!" She swallowed hard. I know what you're thinking." "You have no idea what I'm thinking," I said coldly. Her eyes darted behind me, looking for Lily. "She's not here," I told her. "I sent her to my sister's." Relief flickered across her face, but it didn't last long. Because then I stepped outside and shut the door behind me, and Emily realized for the first time that she wasn't welcome in her own home anymore. She tried to play the victim. "They took everything," she whispered. "My bank accounts are frozen. My credit cards won't work. I don't even know where I can sleep tonight." I tilted my head. "Sounds rough." Her lower lip trembled. "You don't understand." "No," I cut her off. "You don't understand." Her breath hitched. "Please, I need your help." I almost laughed. She needed my help. After what she did. After I found out about the affairs, the lies, the money she stole, the house she tried to take from me. I stepped closer. She flinched. "Good. I gave you everything," I said quietly. "A home, a life, a family." Tears welled in her eyes. "I know, I messed up." I ignored her. "And you threw it all away, not just for one man, but for multiple men, and not just for fun, but for money." She shook her head frantically. "It wasn't like that." I laughed bitterly. "Then tell me, what was it like?" She opened her mouth, then closed it. Because she had no answer, no defense. She had played the game for so long, convinced she would never lose. But now the house was on fire, and there was no exit. That's when the black SUV pulled into the driveway. Emily turned to look, and her face lost what little color it had left. The passenger door opened and a man stepped out. A man Emily had hoped she'd never see again. Derek. He was taller than me, broader. Tattoos crept up his arms, disappearing under the expensive suit he wore like a second skin. He leaned against the car, lighting a cigarette like he had all the time in the world. Emily took a step back. No, you can't." Derek exhaled smoke, watching her with amused eyes. You owe money, sweetheart. I don't have it, she stammered. He smiled. I know. Her hands clenched into fists. Then what do you want? Derek flicked his cigarette into the dirt. You! Emily gasped. What? I didn't move. I didn't speak, because this was exactly what I had planned. She wanted to play dirty? Fine. Now she was in the kind of game she couldn't win. She turned to me, wild-eyed. Please, she whispered. You can't do this. I stared at her for a long moment. Then I leaned in, lowering my voice. You should have thought of that before you fucked me over. Her breath caught. I didn't mean... I stepped back. She's all yours. And then I walked inside, closing the door behind me. Emily screamed my name, but I didn't look back. Because this was justice. Emily's screams faded as I locked the door behind me. I didn't watch them take her. I didn't need to. She had made her choices. Now she would live with them. I walked through the house that in a few weeks wouldn't be mine anymore. It was strange. For years, this place had been my sanctuary, a home I built with my own hands, paid for with late nights and sacrificed dreams. Now, it was just a shell, a graveyard of a life that no longer existed. I poured myself a drink, whiskey, expensive, a bottle I had been saving for a special occasion. Tonight seemed fitting. As I sat at the kitchen table, the weight of everything settled onto my shoulders. Not grief, not sadness, just the cold realization that I was free. Emily was gone, Lily was safe, and for the first time in years, I owed nothing to anyone. Then my phone buzzed. A message. Derek. She begged, cried, didn't change a damn thing. You're clean now. I stared at the screen. My pulse was steady. I didn't reply. 2 weeks passed. No word from Emily, no late-night calls, no dramatic attempts to make me take her back. She had vanished. I should have felt guilty, but I didn't. Lily came home and I focused on her, made sure she was okay, made sure she felt safe. One night she looked up at me over dinner. You don't talk about Mom. I took a slow sip of my drink. No. She hesitated. Do you think she'll come back? I met her gaze. No. She studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Good. And just like that, the last piece of Emily's existence in our lives shattered. She was gone, and we would never speak of her again. Months passed. I rebuilt, I moved, I started over. Somewhere out there, Emily was still paying the price for what she did. But that wasn't my problem anymore. Because for the first time in 15 years, I was finally at peace. Peace is a strange thing. For years I had chased it. I thought peace was a happy marriage, a stable home, a predictable life. I thought it was something you earned by being a good man, a faithful husband, a loving father. But that was a lie. Peace didn't come from doing the right thing. It came from knowing the truth. And the truth was simple. Some people destroy themselves, and some of us just step aside and let it happen. 6 months had passed. Lily and I had moved out of the old house before the eviction date. I found us a new place, smaller, quieter, a fresh start. She adjusted faster than I expected. Maybe she had seen more than she ever let on. Maybe she had known deep down that her mother was never the woman we thought she was. I never spoke Emily's name again. Neither did Lily. She was a ghost, a memory that didn't deserve to exist. One night my phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then a text. Blocked number. Please, I need help. I stared at the screen. My fingers hovered over the reply button. Then I deleted the message. Some doors, once closed, should never be opened again. 1 year later. I was sitting in a coffee shop when Derek walked in. I hadn't seen him since the night he took Emily. He sat across from me, grinning. You look good. I sipped my coffee. I am good, he smirked. You're not curious? I set my cup down. No, he chuckled. Liar. I didn't say anything. Derek leaned back. She tried to run, thought she could disappear, start over. But the people she stole from? He shook his head. They don't let things go. A pause. She ain't running anymore. Something cold settled in my chest. Not regret, not relief, just finality. Guess that's that, I said. Derek grinned. Guess so. He stood, clapped me on the shoulder. Take care, brother. And just like that, he was gone. I finished my coffee, stepped outside, breathed in the cold, crisp air. For the first time in years, there was nothing left chasing me. No ghosts, no betrayals, no unfinished business, just life. And I was finally ready to live it.